Hello and welcome. I'm Maria Ressa. This is Rappler Talk. Today, we are going to talk about our future. What are you going to do when the big one happens? And joining us to talk about it is our MMDA chairman, Emerson Carlos, but we know him as Murph. Okay, call him Murph. And Cora Jimenez. Thank you for coming here.
Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to know, well, for everyone who's just coming in, tell us, what is Shake Drill? Why do we need it?
We've done it before. This is the second time that we will be doing it this year. We're doing it on June 22 at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's actually a Metro Manila wide shake drill. That's what we did last year. We did it Metro Manila wide, but this time around we're doing it with other provinces. And this would include Laguna, Cavite, Rizal, and Bulacan. The reason being the West Valley Fault traverses the provinces, these provinces as well as Metro Manila. So we would want to engage them. And this time around, we would also be engaging regional rescuers because we all know for a fact that if a 7.2 magnitude earthquake would strike Metro Manila, brought about by a movement of the West Valley Fault, we ourselves would be victims. MMDA, all other LGU rescuers would also be victims.
That
So
makes
we
sense.
need the help of other regions as well.
Can you tell me what is the threat for people who, again, this was such a big event when we last did it, the hashtag Shake Drill, but why the West Valley Fault? Why is this important? Why do we need to prepare?
It's still the same threat as last year.
Yes.
If a 7.2 magnitude earthquake coming from the West Valley Fault would strike Metro Manila, there would be at least 35,000 casualties in the first part, and 100,000 would be injured. This was a study made by
JICA.
MMDA, and PhilVox,
Yep.
which is the Metro Manila Myers Earthquake Reduction System. So because of this study, we deem it necessary that we should conduct an earthquake drill to educate the people on what to do if such an eventuality happens.
And what reaction have you had?
We had a very good reaction last year, and we hope we will have the same this year because this is a continuing education. This is a continuing information dissemination because as we will be able to help the people survive that kind of earthquake, there would be less effort on the part of government in terms of rescue, in terms of rehabilitation, in terms of business continuity.
Cora, what lessons learned from last year?
Well, from last year, the objectives actually were to create awareness. So we were able to get that.
Yeah.
6.5 million participating is a good number.
That's
and
huge.
we would like to surpass that number. And then number two is, of course, looking at the contingency plans of each and every company or government agency, even the barangay. We would like them to rehearse this, no? As or like what we say, a drill. Then the other one, if there are gaps in this, how will you enhance your equipment, the capability? Like, for example, how many equipment you should buy more, or how many training should be done by the barangays. So if everyone is prepared, actually the bottom line is nobody should die. Because they say nobody dies in an earthquake if you are prepared.
And for Filipinos who live in Metro Manila, what do you want them to do?
To be aware of what to do in case an earthquake happens. And in order to do that, we must, the very first lesson that we want to impart with this Metro Shake Drill is the duck cover and hold.
Yes.
It's very important for all of us, not only people, but also rescuers as well, because the first thing you have to do is to survive. And once you survive, you can help the people around
Everyone
you.
else, yeah.
And when everything is in place, the Metro Oplan Metro Yacal is in place, that's where government efforts would start coming in, and we would have to engage a lot of government employees, rescuers, not only from Metro Manila, but from other provinces as well as international rescuers if it is necessary.
So you're expanding from last year to this year, and that's a great idea that if we're affected in Manila, the people who are coming in to help would be outside. What aside from the people coming in, I guess, how will this now be different from last year's?
Yeah, aside from the people coming, we would make it more realistic. Okay, it would not be scripted. Each LGU or each sector of society would be conducting their own simulation based on the hazards that they're facing. For example, if you live in the west of Metro Manila, which is subject to liquefaction and fire, they should be conducting drills based on those hazards that are endemic to their community.
What did you find most successful in that last year, aside from the number of people who were there?
Well, the other one is, of course, the participation, as I said. No?
Right.
But the thing is, the business group were with us in this drill because normally during what you call the nationwide earthquake simultaneous drill, it would normally be the schools who would be participating.
Got it.
But this time we were able to get the private companies. They have now an agreement with us, especially for MMDA, what we call the PDRF group, wherein the business sectors are now clustered into quadrants, in fact. So that is one thing good that happened last year. And in our drills, it was not only in the 4 quadrants and in the main command center, but we had what we call the packet drills along the malls, along the private sector's areas. So we saw this, and when I was saying about enhancing the contingency plans, even their public safety officers were now trained, and they don't know only about fire. Now they are drilling more about earthquake. And of course, choosing your evacuation centers is a must for everyone, which everyone should know also where are these evacuation centers.
If I may also add,
Please.
Maria, another new thing this year would be the engagement of the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council.
Got it.
Because what we did last year was Metro Manila can do it alone. Responders came from Metro Manila, the regional offices of national government agencies. But what we will be doing this year is following the Oplan Metro Yacal Plus. It's a new document that enhanced the Oplan Metro Yacal. Oplan Metro Yacal Plus states that national government can come in if Metro Manila cannot do it by itself, and we would be needing the help and resources of the national government. So we would be observing the protocol on how we would elevate the command and control from the region of Metro Manila to the national level. And the national level would come in, deploying resources, bringing it to MMDRRMC, and MMDRRMC deploying it to the local government units. We want to see the protocol, we want to see the organizational setup in place, and that there should be no double deployment.
Great.
And there should be no deployment dictated by media. It should be dictated by the government according to the ICS, the Incident Command System.
So the information coming in when the government deploys. We were talking earlier about the kind of the precision that Japan does in these types of drills. How far away are we from something like that? Are we better? Are we?
Well, the protocol is in place.
Okay.
What we need to do is to find out if this can be translated into action, not
Fantastic.
only by the commanders, not only by the supervisors, but all the way down the line. We should be doing exactly what was written in the protocol, in the Oplan Metro Yacal Plus. And the only way we can do this is to conduct a drill.
Fantastic. And we will do this every year.
Yes, we should do this every year. Why should we do it we do the same duck, cover, and hold every year? Isn't this redundant? Yes, it is redundant, but it is something that we should do. It should be ingrained in our minds so that when a
When it
disaster
happens.
happens,
Yeah.
it's so easy for us.
It's
We know what to
second
do.
nature.
It's second nature.
Can I ask you to go over each step of it? From the duck and cover to the barangay to the cities. Can you tell us that in a short?
Yeah. When an earthquake strikes, what you should do first is duck, cover, and hold. This has been taught to us last year,
Right.
and we should be doing it every year, year in and year out.
Yeah.
Duck, cover, and hold protect yourself.
Right. I like that because even these celebrities were duck cover and hold, right? So, and then, okay, so
Yeah,
that's the first.
just-
Each person needs to,
Yes, once the earth shaking stops, now it's the time to look for to get out of the establishment. If you're inside an establishment,
Right.
get out to a clear area where
Yeah.
you can account for all the people that should have been inside that establishment. Once you have accounted for all of this and there are no missing persons, you're right, you're okay. But if there's a missing person, try to find out how you can help that missing person, and you can now try to find out how you can extricate or how you can locate this person. We should also keep in mind that government rescuers would not be there immediately. So that is what we are trying to.
so people need to learn to help
Yes,
themselves, right?
Everyone needs to learn how to survive and then
Yeah.
how to help
Yeah.
without government intervention or without government aid coming in at the first few hours maybe.
Got it.
You're on your own.
Right, right. Cora, anything to add?
Oh yes. Well, because we're talking about drills, no?
Yes.
So now MMDA is emphasizing also on exercise, because the drill is just showing off to the people what to do in a very short span of time.
Yes.
But for this particular MetroShake drill, the second one, we will be asking our quadrants to stay on at least the whole day, because it starts at 9,
Right.
and do what is camp management. You know, the command and control must be in proper installation. Like for example, we are now testing our communication system.
Yes.
Will we be able to communicate with each
When
other,
there's- yeah, yeah,
among
yeah.
ourselves, with the people, with
Yes.
the higher ups, and things like this. So that's what we are trying to, well, hopefully excel in. But you know very well that in a disaster, communication can bug down. I
Yes.
don't know if I will be able to get in touch with you here,
Yes, yes.
Traveler, but it's a reality, because
Yes.
when we tried doing this from Clark, we were not able to connect right away because of the interferences. Everyone's calling each other,
Right.
things like this. So this is one thing we should tell the people: with your cell phone, please do not right away use your cell phones. If you wish to text, fine, but do not use it for a few hours at
Will we
least.
use sat phones or stuff like
We-
that? for
yes,
the-
sat
you,
phones,
We're
yes.
using sat phones.
Yes,
But the
we-
thing is, the limitation of a sat phone, not everyone has a sat phone.
Correct,
You can only
correct.
call a sat phone with your sat phone, but
Correct.
not another.
The other.
Yeah.
The reason why we love this is because every family, every business, we have to have our own emergency plans, right? When all
Yes,
things
that's
go
right.
through.
Not only your emergency plans, but your go bag as well.
Go bag.
Because
Please go ahead and
because-
explain. Explain that.
As
I've been-
Journalists have a different go bag. But go
So I've
ahead.
been telling you, the first rule in a disaster is for you to survive.
Yes.
And one way to survive is you have the tools, the equipment, the supply for you to survive.
Yes.
So you need the food. You need your food, you need your water, you
Yes.
need flashlights, you need communication equipment, and most importantly, you need your whistle. Your whistle is one of your most important survival tool, because that's the only way you can communicate with any other survivor if in
Yes.
case you're trapped inside a building, a collapsed building, or even your collapsed house.
And then with that, so how long is this period that you think we need to learn to survive on our own
Your
before
go
help
bag
comes?
should help you survive for at least 3 days.
Wow. 3
So,
days.
Yes, you
Okay.
need to survive for 3 days, so you need a 3-day supply of water, 3-day supply of food.
And then after that, where can we look for help? What's the next thing that happens?
Immediately upon the happening of an earthquake, the local disaster risk reduction management councils would be activated. They would be doing their work. They would be setting up. They would be making a RDNA, rapid damage and needs assessment. So they'd find out. They'll try to find out what areas are affected, how severely are they affected, and how to prioritize the deployment of their resources. Once this is done, they can easily make an assessment and try to find out if they can communicate with our quadrants. We have divided Metro Manila into 4 quadrants
Right.
based on the Meyer study. which said that Metro Manila would be divided not exactly physically, but it said that you cannot go from one area to another, either because there are fires surrounding that area or the bridges across the rivers would collapse, so you can't go from one place to another. So we divided into 4 quadrants. And these 4 quadrants are the Emergency Operations Center.
Okay.
They'd be doing the command and control for the local government units, for all the volunteer groups, for all the rescuers within that quadrant. And they would be coordinating with each rescue group and with other quadrants as well as the Operations Center of MMDRRMC, which would be located in our building in EDSA Guadalupe, or if that also collapsed, we have a secondary Operations Center, which is at the Joint Task Force AFP headquarters located at Camp Crame.
So this
Camp
is
Aguinaldo.
Camp Aguinaldo, I'm sorry. Camp
this is the
Aguinaldo.
first. This is where we go to for help. This is government that,
Yes,
that
that's
should be in
government.
place, even if
Yeah.
we can't contact anyone else.
Yes.
And then that command center will coordinate other government services.
Yes. And it would also be coordinating with the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council's
Correct.
operations, which is also located at Camp Aguinaldo, and its secondary base, which is at Clark Air Base.
What's your best case scenario and your worst case scenario?
Best case scenario, no injuries.
No
That's
collapse
almost a
structure.
dream, right?
Yeah, that's a dream because
Yeah.
Myers stated that's 35,000
Will
casualties
instantly die.
within instantly.
This is scary. Okay.
The worst case scenario, an updated study of the updated version of the Myers. The worst case scenario might be an earthquake that would happen at night.
So everybody's in bed. and
Everybody's
the
in bed,
casualty
and
toll will rise
everybody's
higher.
not aware of what's happening.
And so it sounds like MMDA has a plan, and it's already tested it out already. The government has a plan, and what the shake drill is a way to make the work flow, to communicate and test it every year. What is so the June 22nd Shake Drill is the second time. How do you institutionalize this? Both of you have worked the last 6 years. This will be your last Shake Drill, right?
Yes,
Holding
it
it.
is.
How do you make sure that you can institutionalize something like this?
Maybe through the help of the media and also the help of the
Yes.
private sector, they could clamor for.
We should do it.
We're really looking at a shake drill that would really happen yearly, on a yearly basis, no matter who the MMDA chairman is, who are the leaders of our government, but it should happen yearly, if possible, during this time that we've instituted mid-year. And we want this to develop as the year progresses. Maybe we can do a shake drill, maybe nighttime shake drill, afternoon shake drill. We can do a shake drill weekends,
That really would
or
be good.
even
Yeah.
during where malls are open.
Yeah, I mean, even organizationally, like election coverage, we did a workflow rehearsal, a simulation. You must, otherwise people don't know.
We're encouraging each private company or government agency or even just the barangay. They can do this on their own time, because there is already an institutionalized nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. So maybe if it is only the schools who are very much part of it, then it can be expanded to the communities, to the private organizations. So that's very institutionalized since 2005.
Got it.
Now, for the Metro Manila Shake Drill, this is the second time, but we see that the business sector are really the one concerned, because
We're concerned.
Yes,
definitely.
very concerned.
Yeah.
And also because, in the response, especially for the relief, the goods and things like this, we know that it will be the private sector who will be doing much of the work.
Yes,
you know? And then the second one is, of course, the economic flow has to really go right away.
Correct.
And then the other one,
The recovery has to be
we are now
faster.
starting to also, we have started actually at the MMDA for the rehabilitation, recovery, and reconstruction.
Great.
So there is this plan, which I am heading in right now at MMDA. But the thing is, I will not be able to anymore gather all the government agencies, what will be their plans also as well.
Right.
For example,
Right.
if I could still get NHA, the HUDSI group, how will be the shelter
Yes.
that will happen after a disaster. So with a study that I did in Japan for 2 weeks on the reconstruction, so I have an idea of how to go about this with the different government agencies. But it needs time again, just like what we did with the Metro Oplan Yakal Plus. We really had to gather for something like 2 years, consultations and all that. What are the plans of each government agency? That's why in a matrix, which I provided Rappler,
Yes.
you would see the response of each government agency. And it's very clear there what is the role so that of each government
Fantastic.
agency, so there is no such thing as organized confusion.
Yes, which always happens to some degree, which is I think why the simulation is also important, so everybody can figure out. Let me ask you, when we're partnering together, Rappler's partnering, we believe in this and how critical this would be. How do you see the role of public information? How do you see the role of social media?
It's so important. Actually, our first shake drill, we also engaged you. And how did people know in the first place? Of course, through you, through social media, especially for the millennials. And then the second.
But it was everybody, all
Yes,
of the
yes,
news
yes.
groups, the networks.
That's
This is
right.
important to get the
So
information out.
we really are dependent also on the other types of media coverage. And the other one is, of course, government. We
Right.
are, as we say, we comply. We comply with whatever we have to do because lessons learned from other disasters like Yolanda, I think we should do better in preparation.
Murph, your thoughts on this? I mean, how close are we to actually making it as ideal as possible?
We're far from ideal. We should acknowledge that we're not yet really prepared for a disaster like this. And that's the reason why we're doing this shake drill, so that everyone would be engaged. For example, the problem in Yolanda was when everything settled down, we had a problem on the fuel. So for this shake drill, we would also want to engage the petroleum companies
That
on
makes sense.
how they can supply the limited fuel they have in their gasoline stations. I also posed a question to the mall owners during the last meeting. I asked them, should this happen and you are stuck with so many inventory, your food supplies all there, your groceries, water's all there, what would you do with this?
Correct.
Would you secure this or would you give this to the people who also survived?
Those are really good questions. And
Yeah, so we posed that question to them and we asked them, please prepare a plan for this. What will you do? They'll just rot if you keep them
yeah,
when there are so many hungry people outside.
Right.
And they actually would serve as a magnet for looting.
correct. Which is what happened at the warehouse in Tacloban,
Tacloban.
right?
Yes.
Remember
Would you
that?
rather have that or just give this
In an
to the
orderly
people in an
manner.
orderly
Right,
manner?
right. And I hope what answer did you get?
That we just posed the question to
Oh,
them.
okay,
We're
okay.
waiting for the answer.
Okay.
One said we
Because
will
we
have a
need a
3-day sale.
protocol. We
Yes.
need a protocol for that.
Yes. It's a tough job what you're trying to do, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you're defining something that hasn't been defined yet, and you're placing it in the context of tough decisions in crisis.
Yes, tough decisions indeed.
And how, again, I go back to these are things that you're putting in place now. How do you make sure? What else can we do to make sure that as you pose these questions, for June 22, we'll see it, right? How can we make sure that it continues?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked that.
Well, there's such a thing as institutional memories. So
Right.
we have all these documentations in place. Then, in fact, we're talking already, where is your terminal report that we have to endorse to the next chairman. So
Correct.
we have all of this.
You do,
That
okay.
they should be able to continue this. And of course, our public safety, who will be remaining, they'll be the ones to
Your team
continue.
will be there.
Our team
Yeah.
will still be
discussing.
there.
Yes.
Our team is in place. They're government employees with security of tenure. But what would keep this going is the fact that the threat is there.
It's a large
always
threat.
there,
Yes.
and it has not been erased. It's always, even if we conduct so many shake drills, the threat will still remain.
and we'll never be prepared for it because each generation moves, right? The youngest. Oh, okay, I'll shut up. And let me ask you your last thoughts, I guess, in terms of Shake Drill.
Well, we want to engage the people this time around. We want to engage as most number of people we can have. We can. It's not only the schools. Usually we have shake drills. We have earthquake drills. It would involve children getting out of their classroom buildings. But we want to see an earthquake drill where we can challenge. For example, what would happen if an earthquake would affect airports? If the airports are struck with an earthquake, rescuers from other islands,
places can't
other
come in,
places.
Yeah.
So we need to find out where are the landing sites of choppers. How about ports? What would
Yes.
happen to the ports?
And that's data that we can make publicly available, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's what we'll try to do to help.
Yes. So we want to engage as much people as we can, involving public and private sectors wherever they are, and try to find out what would be their problems, what would be their issues that they should confront in case an earthquake strikes. We want them to create their own scenarios in their own places, in their own areas of responsibilities, and try to find a solution for this, because the solution lies not only with the government, but with the public individuals as well.
Fantastic. Corey, your last thought.
Yes, the threat is there, as we say, and we should take this seriously. And while you still can know the hazard in your area, if there is, if it is traverses, right there smack in your place, try to do something about it as early as now. And because one question that was posed again is, do you know your hazard in your mall? Do you know your hazard in your area where you live? So don't take this sitting down. Do not be complacent. So listen to advisories, be part of the drill,
Yes.
and know how to prepare yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Cora Jimenez and Murph. I like Murph, our MMDA chairman coming in. If you don't know what you're going to do when that quake strikes, you've got to join hashtag Shake Drill. That's on June 22 this year. Watch again, and we'll see you soon. Fantastic.